Rain fell in thin silver threads across the village of Saint Loraine, streaking down the stained glass windows of a small chapel by the sea. Inside, the man known as Reverend John Hale, once John Randolf, was finishing his sermon. His voice carried softly through the dim sanctuary. "Forgiveness," he said, hands clasped. "It's not about forgetting. It's about learning to live with what you remember." The congregation murmured amen. As they filed out, he lingered by the altar, eyes drawn to the flickering candles. Every time the wind howled through the cracks of the church, he heard the monastery again, the gunshot, the echo, Mason's voice whispering from the dark. He had buried that name, buried the past. But the past had a habit of clawing its way back. He locked the doors and returned to his quarters. The room was sparse, a desk, a cot, a wooden cross above the bed. On the desk sat a single envelope, unmarked, freshly delivered. His pulse quickened as he tore it open. Inside, a small flash drive, and a note scrawled in red ink. "We found her." No signature. No explanation. But Hale knew exactly what it meant. He plugged the drive into his old laptop. A single video file appeared. It showed a dark interrogation room. A woman sat handcuffed to a chair, her face obscured by shadow. A voice off-screen spoke. "State your name." A pause. Then a whisper. "Agent Elise Monroe." Hale froze. Elise. The one person he had trusted before the erasure. The one they told him had died in an explosion years ago. The voice continued. "Where is the list?" She laughed weakly. "You think you're the only ones looking for it?" The screen went black. Hale sat back, heart pounding. If Elise was alive, then everything Mason said was a lie. Someone else had pulled the strings, and they were still out there. He packed a small bag, pistol, forged passport, and the silver bracelet still engraved with the old coordinates. Then he lit a candle before the altar. "Forgive me," he murmured, "but I can't stay buried." By dawn, he was on a bus heading east. The roads twisted through mountains wrapped in fog. He didn't sleep. Each bump of the road brought flashes of faces, Mason, Hale, Elise, and a memory that felt almost like his own, but slightly wrong. He arrived in Prague 2 days later under a false name, Father Michael Reed. The air was cold, the sky iron gray. He followed the trail to an old contact, an arms broker named Viktor Novák, a man who owed him more than a few favors. Novák's office was hidden beneath an abandoned bookstore. The smell of gun oil and paper filled the air. When Hale entered, Novák's eyes widened. "You're supposed to be dead," he said in a thick accent. "So are you," Hale replied flatly. They sat. Novák poured whiskey, studied him. "I heard rumors. The Reverend, the monastery, Mason's death. You've stirred ghosts, my friend." "I need information," Hale said. "A woman, Elise Monroe. I have a video." Novák frowned, taking the flash drive. He plugged it into a terminal, fingers flying over the keyboard. "Encrypted, but old tech. Agency stuff. Give me a minute." The video appeared again, but this time, a timestamp glowed faintly in the corner. Hale leaned closer. The date was wrong, off by 10 years. "This can't be," he muttered. "She died before." Novák's eyes narrowed. "Someone altered your memory files, John. You were never meant to remember Elise." Hale's stomach turned. "Why?" "Because," Novák said quietly, "she wasn't just your partner. She was your handler." The word struck like ice. Images flickered, Elise in a white lab coat, holding a syringe, whispering, "This won't hurt, John." A bright flash. Silence. Before he could speak, the lights cut out. A hum vibrated through the walls. "EMP," Novák said, drawing his gun. "They found us." The door exploded inward. 2 men in tactical gear stormed in, weapons raised. Hale reacted on instinct, ducking, firing twice. 1 man dropped. Novák took a round to the chest, collapsing against the wall. The second man lunged. Hale caught him with a clean strike to the throat. Silence. Blood pooled beneath Novák. "Run," he gasped, pressing a USB drive into Hale's hand. "This has everything, the project." Hale knelt. "Stay with me." Novák smiled faintly. "We all die twice, my friend. Once when the heart stops, and once when our name is forgotten." Then he was gone. Hale staggered out into the cold Prague night, clutching the drive. Sirens wailed in the distance. He ducked into an alley, breathing hard. A faint voice came from behind him. "You still don't remember, do you?" He spun, gun ready. A woman stepped from the shadows. Short hair, dark coat, eyes sharp and familiar. "Elise," he breathed. She smiled sadly. "You shouldn't have come." He lowered the gun. "They said you were dead." "I was. Or at least, that's what they wanted you to think." She stepped closer. "You weren't supposed to wake up, John. Not after the erasure." "I want the truth," he said. "You can't handle it. Try me." She sighed. "You weren't investigating Hale's murder. You were investigating yourself. Mason didn't lie entirely. You were part of Project Mirror, a psychological replication experiment. They used memory fragments from double agents to create sleeper identities. You're not John Randolf." He blinked. "Then who am I?" She hesitated. "You're one of them." He stared at her, disbelief tightening his throat. "No. That's not possible." Elise reached into her coat and tossed him a small metal device, a memory capsule, marked Mirror 09. "Plug it in," she said softly. "Then decide who you really want to be." Before he could answer, a shot rang out. Elise jerked forward, blood blooming across her chest. Hale caught her as she fell, her hand gripping his sleeve. "Don't trust the church," she whispered, then went still. He looked up. At the end of the alley stood a man in a black cassock, face hidden beneath a hood. "Reverend Hale," the figure said in a calm, familiar tone. "You've sinned again." Hale's breath caught. The voice was his own. The hooded man stepped into the light, and the face staring back at him was identical. 2 men. 1 memory. 1 truth left to uncover. To be continued.